Now to the latest on the breaking news we brought you at the top of the hour. A district attorney in North Carolina now says sheriff's deputies were justified in the shooting death of Andrew Brown Jr. No officer will be charged in Brown's death. NBC News correspondent Catie Beck is on the ground for us in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. Also with us, NBC News legal analyst Danny CEVALLOS. Catie, we'll start with you on this. The district attorney there spoke at length, laying out his explanation. What can you tell us about what he had to say?
Yeah, good afternoon, Aaron. We had not heard from the district attorney in about 3 weeks. The last time we heard from him, he was in court trying to convince a judge to delay releasing this body cam footage. Today, he actually showed us the body cam footage and walked through his reasoning for why he thinks these officers were justified in this shooting and why none of them will be criminally charged. He was very clear that he made this decision with the Constitution at hand and the laws here in North Carolina, not based on public opinion. He said he did actually consult several other DAs in other counties in North Carolina who has confronted similar circumstances to ask for their advice in the matter. But he stands very firmly on the foundations that he believes that Andrew Brown was posing an imminent threat to officers and to the public by maneuvering his vehicle towards them and recklessly operating it in a dangerous manner. Here's what the district attorney had to say.
Based upon my review of the facts of this case, I have determined that the shooting of Andrew Brown on April 21st, 2021 was justified to protect the safety and lives of the deputies on the scene. The deputies who fired the fatal shots perceived an actual and apparent threat, evaluated the situation in seconds, decided, and acted. There is insufficient evidence beyond a reasonable doubt to show that any of the deputies acted in a manner that was inconsistent with their perception of an apparent threat. In fact, my review of the incident indicates there is no evidence that the deputies who fired the fatal shots acted in any manner that is inconsistent with the threat they perceived, and certainly no evidence that the deputies acted in any way contrary to or in violation of North Carolina law.
Now, the district attorney was asked, wasn't it possible that deputies could have simply let Brown go and apprehended him at another time? And his response to that was, well, would the threat at another time be any more dangerous or less dangerous than at the current time that the deputies were encountering him? And they said deputies have a duty to execute warrants, and that's what they were doing. They were doing their duty to serve the public, and protect themselves. He was also questioned about his ability to be impartial in this case, to not maintain, some type of relationship with a lot of these deputies that he works with on a regular basis. Was it possible that he was able to be impartial in making this decision? He said, in fact, it was, and that he actually is elected here in this county and serves the people of this county, so had the additional pressure of being transparent, of being fair, and really relying solely on the law to make this decision.
Catie, I want to ask you about one other thing. There seems to be some discrepancy about the video that was displayed today and whether Andrew Brown was driving toward or away from the officers. What can you tell us about that?
He did a very slow-mo sort of still frame explanation during this press conference of the moments that he considers to be threatening, one of which was when a deputy had their hand actually on Andrew Brown's door, on the driver's side door, and was trying to open when Brown moved away and the deputy's arm was pulled onto the hood of the vehicle. Another second incident when Brown was again driving away and a deputy had to move out of the way to not be hit by the vehicle. He considers those two incidents sort of the evidence for how that car was maneuvered as a deadly weapon. There were certainly lots of questions in the room about that, directionally, and if in fact contact was made in either case. He seems to feel very strongly that it's a perceived and actual threat. Both were met. That bar was met both times here, and that he feels deputies did what they needed to do.
So, Danny, let me get your thoughts on this, just your impressions of the DA's decision and what recourse the family might have at this point in this case.
The family can still theoretically bring a civil suit, but it would have been a lot more helpful to that civil suit to meeting their burden if there had been a criminal prosecution. But that doesn't mean they still can't bring it. It happens all the time. In fact, the vast majority of civil suits against police departments are in situations where the police were not charged with a crime, but rather the plaintiff believes that civil rights were violated or they have some other cause of action against the police.
All right, we'll leave it there. Danny CEVALLOS, Catie Beck for us today. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.